Hi everyone, my name is Annalisa. Today I'd like to do this video on Zodiac Releasing. Zodiac Releasing is a method that only appears in a work of an astrologer, Valens, from the period of BC. And of course it's traditional and Hellenistic astrology. But he only has this method in the anthology book, chapter 4 and 10. This is one of the most predictable techniques recovered from ancient tradition. Valens, he calls this that a very powerful, potent technique. That this is the mostly impressive one recovered so far, and these recoveries only have been taking place since the 90s, where great people and astrologers went back and rediscovered these major techniques like the Zodiac Releasing, the Sact, the Perfections. Those are ancient Hellenistic methods that are very predictable. But this one is very predictable. It's lots that are very powerful. It's like it divides a person's life into chapters and paragraphs. It's like you go into a book and you opening a chapter, and that chapter has so much pages, or a few, whatever pages they are, because as I go further, I will explain why. But these lots, I only use 3 lots, but Valens had about 8 lots that he mostly used. But I normally use just 3 of them. And the ones that I use is Spirit, Fortuna, and Eros. Spirit is associated with the sun. It is matters pertaining to the mind, the soul, the intellect, and to the active part of the person. It's what the native brings about in their life, and as a result of their personal relation. And it's about choices, it's about career life, it's about directions that a person takes in life, it's the intellectual focus. Valens said, or written in that book, that the spirit, you mostly will have to release these lots from spirit if the person works with the mind or the thinking. For Fortuna, Fortuna is associated with the moon. It signifies the body. It signifies the matters of pertaining to the physical incarnation, that which befalls the native or the person of no fault of their own, like things that happen to you that, there's no explanation why they're happening. And it's about health, it's about bodily matters. It's about circumstances. Eros, ruled by Venus, is about love and relationships. So these lots, these chapters, they have time sequences. The lot of Aries is about 15 years, which is ruled by Mars. The lot of Taurus is ruled by Venus, about 8 years. The Gemini is a lot of Mercury, it's about 20 years. The lot of Cancer is ruled by the Moon, is about 25 years. The lot of Leo is ruled by the Sun, it's 19 years. The lot of Mercury, Virgo, is 20 years. The lot of Libra is 8 years, which is ruled by Venus again. A lot of Scorpio, Mars is ruled by 15 years. Sag is 12 years, ruled by Jupiter. Capricorn is 27 years, ruled by Saturn. Aquarius is 30 years, ruled by Saturn as well. But then there's other level of lots. There's lot 1, which is this amount of years. Then there's lot 2, which is years. Again, depends. Like, for instance, the lot 2 for Taurus is about 8 months. The lot of Aquarius, which is 30 years on lot 1, is about 30 months on lot 2. Then it goes to months, and then it goes to weeks, and it goes to seconds, it goes to minutes. So these are the different years and lots. These are chapters. These are paragraphs of your life. It's like you open it up and reading what it is. I started off with modern astrology. Back in the 90s, my teacher was modern astrology. But, modern astrology is about more the psychological and the characters of people. Then a few years ago, I discovered the Hellenistic, the tradition astrology, which is more predictive astrology. So it's more in tune with my stuff, because I'm also a tarot reader. I'm also a numerologist. So it's more what I enjoy doing. So this Hellenistic traditional astrology fell more into my body of work. I do have a few charts that I would like to post up to be indicative how this predictive technique works. It is very predictive. So I'm going to start off with, I call him Bieber, but my kids tease me. It's Bieber. It's Justin Bieber. So I'm going to start off with him because he is his lots and his chart is very indicative of that. He's born with Aries Fortuna. So we release these zodiac lots, these chapters, through Fortuna for a long time, especially in modern astrology. Modern astrology believes that the natal chart you diagnose every event of your life through the chart, the natal chart. Well, we don't believe that, because we know we progress, and we know that there's an evolution with our souls and our minds and our bodies and everything else. So we never stay the same. So this ancient techniques understand like progressions. You progress. So the modern believes that that you should always go by the natal sun. Well, the natal chart. I don't, because a lot of these parts of the chart stay dormant for a while. Not everything is activated all the time. You're not activating these planets or these houses all the time. Some of these things, some parts of your chart for a long time, they stay dormant. And a lot of times they become very heightened and activated. Well, with Bieber, not Beaver, his lot of fortune is Aries, so he's in a cardinal signs. How this works is, now I have to look at every cardinal sign on his chart, which is Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. He was born in the lot of Cancer, which is a cardinal sign. The Cancer lot is about 25 years. So it is 25 years actually, because it's 25 years that lasts. So he's born in a 25-year lot of Cancer, but it is his peak lot, because we call them, there's lots that not everything is happening the way you want. You deal with your challenges when you deal with these lots, but there's others that are called peak lots. So he already born in the 25-year peak lot, that's his fourth house from the releasing of the Fortuna. So it is already a minor peak, but still nevertheless it's a peak. So for him, around the age of 13, he was on the lot of Aries, which is his Fortuna lot, which is his Fortuna is in Aries. So at 13 years old, he was on his Aries lot. So he was discovered at 13 years old. Prior to that, he had major peaks, and that his mother, he entered a contest, he became second. That was a great disappointment for him. But then his mother started posting his stuff on YouTube, and he got noticed at 13 years old. He signed and became a celebrity at 13 years old. He was on Aries lot, which is his Fortuna lot. Okay, so that's how predictable these lots are. What I'm trying to say is that not everybody that is born into a peak lot is going to be a child success. But he had what you call those celebrity children that they born and they right away get to be stars. He's one of them, if you have the gift to be a star, because other things in your chart will tell you what you can be successful at and not. Okay, so for now I'm done with Justin Bieber. Next person, I'm going to go to Robert Downey Jr. Okay, he's born into Virgo lot, so that makes him immutable. Every mutable sign in his chart is peak times. It's where he can be mostly successful in life. Robert Downey Jr. was, when he was born, he was born into the lot of spirit. I'm releasing from the lot of spirit because I'm looking at people's career. I don't know their personal life, so I cannot release it from Eros, and I cannot release it for Fortuna because that's, as I explained before, what those lots mean. We know about their public life, so I'm going to talk about, I'm releasing from spirit. So Robert Downey Jr. born into the lot of Cancer. So Cancer is cardinal, okay? So, and he was there 25 years. But Robert Downey Jr. is a famous actor. So Robert Downey Jr., by the time that I'm going to make you notice his lots, prior to that, he already had a career up to that point, going back to the 80s. In fact, he was, I'm going to say that he did some great movies before then, in the 90s and the 2000s. But late 90s, 2000, he struggled with a period of substance and legal issues where he got arrested and all of that. Actually, before in the 2000s, before the end of the first season of Ally McBeal, because he was doing stuff with Ally McBeal there. Over the Thanksgiving 2000, Downey was arrested when his he was in the room of Merv Griffin's hotel, and in California, and he got arrested, but he responded that he would finish off a few more episodes of Ally McBeal that got him off a little bit, but nevertheless, I do believe that he got charged with cocaine and possessions and all of that. So you know that he had a pretty tumultuous life before then. So for the first 25 years, he was in a cardinal. 25 years, there was some major peaks, because we do have major peaks. Even though you're not in a peak lot, you still have peaks in between. Doesn't mean that you can't have that, but it is very emphasized when these lots fall into the sign or the element of your Fortuna. In 2/16/208, he entered the major lot peak of Virgo, which is a mutable, and that Virgo mutable goes for 20 years. So, but Downey somehow, he in the early 2000s actually got a few roles there, but nothing to write home about, right? But in a 208 actually, 208, he 208, he went into the major lot of Virgo, which is mutable. And right away, he started his critically, commercially successful film of Iron Man. So he started the series of Iron Man. And after that, and he got to be in Forbes as the highest earning actor in Hollywood. I think around 2015 he got nominated that, and since then he's been having quite a bit of success with that series of Iron Man. So, and through the time, as his chart will be posted, you will see that he has moderate peaks, he has major peaks, but he hasn't fallen back to what he was doing when he was on his lot of Cancer. When he entered the Virgo in 208, since 208, he hit these big contracts with these big movies and all of that. So the prediction, these lots, these chapters, seems to have been very successful for him as well. Okay, so I'm done with Robert. The next chart is about a client of mine. She's been working with her for years. So she allowed me to talk about her chart because all of these predictions came through. She's Capricorn Fortuna, which makes it a cardinal points or cardinal peaks. So I'm going to release from the cardinal, which is Libra, Capricorn, Cancer, and Aries. With her, the story goes that we dealt with one issue was about her career. Around 2019 to 2020, she was very challenged with her career, where she was working, because she felt very, appreciated by her bosses and the people she worked for. She felt very trapped, and actually one of the bosses was quite abusive, emotionally, mentally abusive. So she was going through a very desperate kind of a time with her. But I did other divinations on her, like the tarot and the numerology, and the constantly told me that there would be something better coming up for her. But you got to remember too, when I do these releases of these bonds, I am also reading your chart and what planets you have on those houses, and what is aspecting those planets and so forth, because that will give me more of an indication of what is coming up for you. Is it good? Is it bad? Because just because you have a peak lot, it doesn't mean that you're always having the best time of your life. It could also, because if there's a bad planet, if there's your bad planet on that peak time, you're going to be very challenged, where things will not come out of it. So you got to look at that way. So doing a lot of other releases, divinations for her, I saw that there would be something coming up. So to around the end of 2020, she decided to send out resumes and look for something else. But she was inspired to find something that made her feel happy and that she was being successful at it and enjoy what she was doing, because she's a very smart girl. She's a very, has a lot to give. So she went through a few and got disappointed with them and didn't get what she wanted. But around March, she kind of got interviewed for something that she probably the field that she was looking at, and she was quite hopeful that work out. But something inside of me said, maybe it's not gonna be it. So, but I always try to keep it positive. Come to March, she didn't get it. What she at that point was something that she thought she would get it, and she wanted that too. So she got desperate again and really angry at life and stuff. And I said, I got to look at Zodiac Releasing, because there must be something there that will give me more information. God and behold, there was. So around actually in March, it shows here on her lots that she was going to get something close to it and maybe it, but she didn't, no cigar. But around May 8th, because remember, her lots are cardinal. So Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn would come up. She landed on a lot of Cancer but this is a lot 2. Actually, this is a lot 3. So it's a short period of time. So I looked into it and I said, you know what? I think around May 8th, you will get this job. May 8th, 2021. So she says, okay, let's hope for it. But at that point, there was nothing coming up that would be indicative that she would get that. So, but as we go along, around April, May, around ends of April, May, she gets a call for an interview. And she was very excited because it was around what she wanted to go into. And I said, well, you will get it somehow. That's what's indicative here. And she says, okay, let's hope so. She went to the interviews and she got the job. But my dates here was May 8, 2021, and she started May 10, 2021. So that's how predictable these things are. We move ahead. She's in her, but I was telling her the prior year that you're moving into perfection here for a lot of things are coming home, you know, marriage, home, children. These are things that are you in that process. So I looked deeper as I was doing the research for this, and I looked deeper into her things. Now she's talking about other things, but she's very focused on a home. So I'm going to make a little bit of a prediction here for her, and it may come to him and not, but I'm going to do it anyway. I believe around June 24, 2022, that something with a home, something possibly an opportunity to buy a home or move into a home or something. It's home oriented. It's basically showing indications of a home. So she could look at that as June 24, 2022. Could come a little bit earlier, could come a little bit later. But that is a major peak that she's having around that time. Now, I did 2 releases of 2 different charts with her. I also did Eros with her. Because why? Because with her as well, she's been always infused by having the right relationship, finding the love of her life, getting married, having children. Last year I said, well, all of those things are coming, so get ready, because I feel with these releases that I was making for her that these things would come into her life. And I felt that, as I told her from these lots, I said, something is happening with you around April, May, something exciting, something that is pointing to what you want. Actually, around which it will show the lot on January 30 from 2022. She had a high peak and the releasing of a bond, which is a small releasing of a bond, which is things out of the blue change and your life perspectives looks all different and you go into different directions. And remember, she's, as you look at her chart, she's 39 years old. She's been waiting for this moment for all her life because that's how she wanted. She got engaged February 19, 2022. That lot was active January 30, 2022, and she also had a small releasing of the bond. So again, that kind of shows you how predictive these things are. And I'm finished with this client. In the last chart I'm going to do is could be a little bit controversial, I would say that, but it's Justin Trudeau, our Premier of Canada, at the moment. And his chart is very, very, very predictable. Actually, Justin Trudeau, around the age of 30 years old, because let me start from the beginning. He is Taurus Fortuna, so his signs are fixed, which is Aquarius, Taurus, Scorpio, and Leo. He's a night person, which makes him a moon person. So Justin, around age of 30, he went into Aquarius lot, which lasts him 30 years. The Aquarius is a major peak period. So for 30 years, he has a major peak year. And on top of it, on top of everything, if that's not great enough, he has his North Node, which is a lot of ambition, a lot of push on his Aquarius house. And he also has Venus, which is his good ruler. So he has 30 years of success. A few downfalls, but most of them are very successful, high peak, motivated, successful years. So I'm going to go back a little bit on history, and you will see it through the chart that I go back to April 07, where he has the lot of Scorpio, which is a fixed sign. He has a moderate peak, but he won the Liberal Party nomination, which packed him around 690 votes. And we know that Liberal Party was in pretty big crisis at that time. Then on September 10, 2010, which he is on a major peak time, he also went, that's why I say that these lots, you don't always have high peaks, you also have challenges there. He went under, he sparked controversial things when it was revealed that he earned 1.3 million public speaking fees from charities and school boards across Canada, in which $277,000 was paid off to him when he became Premier of Canada. So again, it all depends also on the planets in your chart, where they are, and actually had a very hard aspect there at that time. Then we move into 211. Trudeau was re-elected at Penavois federal elections, as the Liberals were in third place at that time. And he traveled the country and did charities for the Liberal Party. That's 211. Then we move into November 15, 2013. Remember, he's still under that lot 1, which is Aquarius, which is fixed. So in 2013, he became the leader of the Liberal Party in Aries house, which puts him in a very good place in his chart, which is the moon, and he is ruled by the moon. His chart is ruled by the moon. So that's how you see that I put all of these different aspects and the different things into the reading that makes these kind of premonitions. But these lots in itself are very indicative of premonitions. Then on February 8, 2015, he had a major peak in his chart where he becomes Prime Minister. August 15, 2021, he secured the federal elections and he secured his third mandate on position. On January 29, 2022, convoy protests at the Parliament in Ottawa happened. He's in the lot of Virgo, but Virgo is his ascending, it is squaring his bad planet in Saturn. So we know that the convoy, the protests at the parliament in Ottawa there happened. January 7, 2022, his ascendant was squaring Saturn, Saturn as well. So a lot of these squares and these aspects where these lots fall at most of the time, they also represents the good times and the bad times in your life. So that's what he was dealing with. On February 14, 2022, and if I look at his lots there, and you will, it's highlighted so you can see it. He invoked the Emergency Act for the first time since it was invoked in 1988, Virgo period as well. And he is ascending, the Saturn is squaring his ascending. I'm going to make a little prediction, which I shouldn't, but I'm going to do it anyway. I believe that on July 20, 2024, I feel that he will stay in his position until then. But I do believe at that time that his position will become, he no longer will be there at that time. Okay? Now, I feel that this is it. I think it went a little bit too long, but I hope that you stayed with it, and I hope that you learned something. But please understand that there's more to it. I just scratched the surface with this technique. This technique is very profound, very, very indicative of what is your chapters and what you go through in life and all of that. It's a very predictive technique. So it has all my respect, and I work with it, and I do a lot of works when people hire me to do so. I do go into the deep study of the lots because this takes a lot of work and a lot of time, but I enjoy doing them. This is more up to my alley. I love my work. I love my job, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Namaste. Thank you for watching.